All right. You guys are not going to believe this, but this is a landmark, the 20th episode of the Malapert Smark Wrestling Podcast. And if our legions of fans didn't notice, we have a special guest today for this special occasion. It's our friend Bryan. We've teased him coming on for the past couple weeks, you know. We thought maybe we'd have him last week, but we got him now. So, Bryan, welcome to our humble show.
Oh, you're muted. We can't
Bryan, you gotta unmute yourself, buddy.
we gotta hear you, dude.
Hello?
Oh, yeah,
There he goes.
There you go.
Oh.
Okay. I have my hoodie on. I'm sorry. No, I just want to say no. I'm. Thank you for the invite. I'm happy to be here. I love all you motherfuckers. Oh wait, can I curse on this?
Yeah. On the podcast platforms, I have the little E on there, so it shows that we curse. Well,
I'll say I'm glad to be here because I love all you guys. So let's talk.
Yeah.
Good having you, man.
Of course. Love you too, man. Bryan and Robert, I met at the local bar we go to. We don't need to say the name because I don't want all our groupies coming out, and we need some time to ourselves and away from
groupies.
crazy
no, screw that. Give some promotion to where we met.
All right. The Banter Bar. We go to the Banter Bar. Banter on national.
You ain't got to give the address. I mean, if they're interested, they'll do their Google research and find out.
Yeah.
No, that's
well,
man.
It's a chill place, but yeah, Vlad has been my best friend since 3rd grade, and Robert and Bryan, we met at the bar. We somehow started talking wrestling at some point. I don't even remember, but our fans, you guys know Robert, you guys know Vlad, but since Bryan's new, I wanted to start the show by asking him first. Just a question, a general wrestling question. So, do you remember your earliest wrestling memory? Dig deep in your brain. Because I asked this to Vlad the other day, and he was a little surprised at that question. But what about you? Can you pinpoint it? The age, what channel, what was the show, anything?
Damn, putting the brother on the spot right out the gate. So I can answer. I'm trying to think. So I'm probably the oldest guy on this show right now. Oh no! Don't take the camera off me. I ain't gotta do that.
You're featured right now.
That.
I think the first is it took me a while to become a wrestling fan. I didn't become a fan until the Monday Night Wars, when I was in college. But
Interesting.
I was familiar with wrestling as a kid because I grew up in the whole, the 80s boom and the expansion with Vince and all that. So my earliest memory, honestly, it might have been Rocky 3. With Hulk Hogan,
Thunder Lips.
Yeah, Thunder Lips versus Rocky.
That's interesting.
That might have been it. I mean, I knew of Hulk Hogan before that, I think, or maybe it was after, because they had what was it? What was the cartoon they had back in the 80s? The
Rock and Wrestling.
Rock and Wrestling cartoon.
Yeah,
that's right.
So that was how I really became familiar with all these, with these characters and everything.
Attitude Era.
King Kong Bundy, I think was somewhat when I was, I forget what Christmas it was, maybe 86, 87. But one of my aunts got me one of those LJN action figures from WWF, and it was King Kong Bundy. You guys remember those figures? You probably don't. But these figures were just made of hard plastic. You couldn't move them at all.
Yes, yeah, I remember. I have some of them.
Pose. They were either like this or like this, but I had a King Kong Bundy figure, and I've always been a fan of King Kong Bundy because of that. But yeah, I think Rocky 3 might have been my first memory of pro wrestling. That was a movie, so.
Yeah, well, that was a very realistic looking wrestling scene, like the punches and everything. Definitely remember that. That's a good one. How about you, Robert? I don't think I've ever asked you. Can you pinpoint your earliest wrestling memory as a kid?
Well, I can't remember like the first memory, but I knew it was in the time when I think I saw like Shawn Michaels attacking Mr. Perfect or something like that. I believe that's my earliest memory that I can recall.
That's pretty specific.
Yeah, like it wasn't even in the ring. It was like outside, like right by a car. Like I think one of them attacked each other. Maybe it was Mr. Perfect attacking Shawn Michaels. I forgot. Doink the Clown stood out to me. Okay, I was a kid. Okay, Doink the Clown really stood out to me.
Yes,
he was a clown.
Sure.
Yokozuna.
So WWF. You started watching WWF first.
Yes.
Okay.
But I wasn't really, I didn't really get hooked until both The Rock and Stone Cold started getting like really hot.
All right.
And
So we're all Attitude Era kids here, I guess.
yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
For sure. For sure, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen. I'm gonna go ahead and start the show. We're gonna do a little bit of wrestling discussion of modern wrestling topics. We're gonna go really into the past today because there's just too much going on in today's wrestling world. We got enough to talk about. We got enough on our plate. So I'm gonna start with angles. Well, before I say that, I wanted to mention something to Bryan. Yeah, I just remembered it because
To me?
since he's here, yeah, because
just to Bryan.
well, to Bryan, yeah, and in general, because this is the Malapert Smark Wrestling Podcast. We're supposed to be Malaperts. We're supposed to be judging these shows, telling what we think of it, if we think they're doing something wrong, if we think they're doing something better, like we're some kind of experts, and yet we're not. So that's what Malapert means, when you're being disrespectful to someone who's obviously more experienced than you. But, it's a nickname. It's in jest, okay? We might criticize, but, I've changed my tune on Tony Khan. I told you this at the bar, Bryan. I used to be very, very critical. Now that I have a podcast and I could barely get on the air once a week with one 1-hour podcast, and I've been run ragged all day preparing. You could never prepare enough. I didn't really prepare enough. I prepared, but I wish I could have done more. And it's just difficult, man. And doing these shows on Dynamite and Collision and everything he's thrown together, I get it. You're up against it. You have to throw something on the air. Sometimes you just got to improvise. So, sure, I'll be critical. I'll criticize some things. But overall, I'm not really, I'm not as critical as I was before. I used to be very pissed off when these shows were bad. I used to say, man, we need this to be better. Come on, we're wrestling fans. We need something. But God, it's not easy. It's difficult. There's a lot of personalities, as you guys know, in wrestling, and a lot of these things just don't really line up perfectly. There's injuries, and he's new at this, so I take it easy on him. But yeah, if you guys want to let it fly with some criticisms, go ahead as much as you want to. It's up to you. But all that being said, let's start the show. So let's move along. We got some major angles that I want to discuss for sure that we have to discuss. So we're going to start with Adam Cole and MJF. So they lost on Saturday to FTR at Collision, which wasn't the surprise that they lost, but what was in question was whether they would remain friends. And we got this memorable moment here, if I could pull up the Malapert Smark TV that we use from time to time. But we got this moment where they lost, and we really didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't know if MJF was going to stay friends with Adam Cole or hit him in the back of the head. But God, MJF is so good. But in regards to this angle, I'll start with Bryan, since you're new here. You take the floor. What is going on in this angle? What is going on here?
Well, first of all, I gotta say I'm impressed that you're able to just put that footage up right now. Like, I'm really impressed with the production of this show. So kudos to you and everybody involved. That's very
Kayhan.
cool.
All credit to Kayhan.
Yeah, all credit to Kayhan. And I'm
thank you. I appreciate that.
And before I get into that angle, I'm glad that you had that you mentioned what the Malapert Smark Wrestling was, because I thought this was a Quantum Flux, and I'm like, you got two different names here, and I'm like,
Oh.
Malapert, what the hell is that? But I'm glad you explained what that means. I'm not Albert Einstein, but I'm also not a dum-dum. But I did not know the term Malapert. So
Yeah,
thank you for
it's
that.
not a common term. And Quantum
Yeah.
Flux is the name of our network. I hope to have more podcasts on this network eventually.
Okay.
At
So
this
that's
point,
the parent company.
yes,
And this
exactly.
is okay.
Right.
Gotcha.
This is our only show at the moment.
All right. But more to come. I got you. In terms of that angle, so I thought the match that they had on Collision last week against FTR was freaking great. FTR is awesome. Adam Cole and MJF are two phenomenal talents. This storyline has been a weird one for me because the signposts seem to all indicate the obvious, and based on ratings, because I saw that the episode of Collision where they were the main event, like it did numbers higher. It was the second highest rated episode of Collision outside of the premiere, which is impressive. And also knowing that their T-shirts are selling out the wazoo, it's like the number one selling AEW merch. That double clothesline T-shirt and anything dealing with MJF and Adam Cole is like hot. So I watched that match and I saw it a day later. I didn't see spoilers. And I was kind of like, as it went on, I'm like, you got to strike when the iron's hot. I thought maybe they put the straps on them and then they do the rematch at Wembley. They obviously did not do that. They lost and then had the angle at the end where, like, is MJF going to hit him with the belt, him being Adam Cole? And he didn't. It's a good story right here that's happening. The promo segment on Dynamite, I thought was good, but it left me feeling a certain way where I'm like, I don't know if fans are as into seeing these two wrestle as they are seeing them teaming together against somebody else. Because when they announced on Dynamite that when MJF had mentioned that, hey, you're not deserving this rematch, but of any rematch, you're deserving of the rematch on the biggest show that we can give you. And the crowd popped and everything for All In in Wembley, but for me, I don't know, like the reception of that didn't seem to really strike the crowd as much as I think maybe the creative minds were hoping for. Because I'm not, at least for me as a fan, like I'm not at a point where I want to see these two wrestle each other. I want to see them as a team still. I think there's so much more juice on that fruit.
Yeah.
Versus them being against each other. And they're obviously moving the numbers, like they're ratings movers. Like anytime you have Adam Cole and MJF together, like people are tuning in, they're invested. And I think that there was some, I would have pivoted. I would have put the belts on them. I would have had them go over FTR. Because I think the fans are more invested in them as a team than they are as them in this babyface versus babyface matchup at All In. So
that's why my question was, what the hell is going on? And you're giving such a good answer because I am so confused by this whole thing. So
it's a weird one. It's a weird one.
Let me pivot to Vlad for a second. Vlad, let me just ask you, in terms of the storyline, it's starting to be a little weird to me. Well, first of all, the world title means everything to MJF, right, in the storyline. Why is he giving Adam Cole a shot at the title just like that? Okay, I know they're friends, okay? Secondly, we've seen this babyface flash of MJF recently, in the past. It happens. He did it with CM Punk where he was getting some sympathy, and then he always just turns, in the end, back to what he was. Right. So I'm very confused though. Like they're confusing me, and I'm thinking MJF has something to do with this. But are you seeing any holes in this storyline, and are you seeing that this can go somewhere?
Well, as far as the overall angle, it's been hit or miss. You know, the matches have been good, but then what about all that comedy, all that junk that we had to kind of sit through, them at the restaurants and them at the bars, and you know, there's been good stuff, but there's also been a lot of crummy stuff that really is beneath MJF as a talent, I feel. But I don't. But you know, in some ways it's good because we don't know where it's going and it's not predictable. I think there's some positives to that. Like, you don't want your wrestling to be predictable. You kind of want it. You want to keep the fans guessing a bit, and that's what's kind of happening here. I don't know who's going to. Somebody's going to turn on somebody on this match when they have the Wembley title match. But who's it going to be? It could be Cole. It could be MJF. We don't know. I mean, it could be a plot by Cole just to get a title shot. I mean, to get a title shot.
that would be pretty wicked. Taking advantage of Adam Cole's vulnerabilities to get a title shot, pretending to be friends with him. That would be a pretty crazy heel turn. I would agree with that.
I don't know. I mean, of course, money is on MJF still being the heel because he's so good at it, but. I mean, this guy's good at everything. He's good at being a face. He's good at being a heel. I mean, yeah, obviously he's better as a heel, but he could do both. And I don't know. I can't say where it's going, but as far as the overall angle, it's been hit or miss for me. I like MJF a lot, as anybody that knows me knows that. But I kind of defend Cole a lot too, despite criticism that he gets. And I know he gets a lot of criticism for being thin. And, I've always kind of had a soft spot for him for whatever reason. I don't, maybe because I'm a skinny guy myself. I don't know. But I've always had a soft spot for Adam Cole.
Well, this is the best that they've done with Adam Cole in AEW so far. But, Robert, can you give us any thoughts on this? What are you thinking? What is going through your mind here?
I mean, I mentioned this 2 weeks ago on the podcast. Remember, I'm sure you guys remember when I said the hints of like a swerve or a turn was happening a little too soon, because this pairing of MJF and Adam Cole, it's the fans are really, really invested in it, and like what Bryan mentioned, there's the merchandise, it's like selling like crazy. So I feel like they should have milked this a little bit longer before even hinting at some tension between the two of them. They should have just kept rolling with this team, like just instead of like going against each other. So it sort of reminds me how when the Acclaimed had a really hot run, and then I don't know I'm not sure what happened with the booking, but they just kind of killed it. Like the momentum just kind of died. I'm kind of afraid something like that will happen with this MJF Adam Cole angle, where they could have just milked this tag team a lot longer, and then we know eventually they're gonna fight each other, but it didn't have to be this soon. That's all I'm saying.
Just because they made shirts for them and merchandise, I don't think that means that they're going to stay together, because I think it's easy to make T-shirts these days. They make T-shirts nonstop.
No, it's easy to make T-shirts, but it's hard for them to sell as well as they've been doing.
That's true.
And I absolutely agree with Rob, where he's saying it's like there was I'm sure that Tony Khan in his mind had his story that he wanted to tell with these two, but sometimes you've got to pivot. And I think when you realize you've stumbled upon something that is hot, that the fans are liking and enjoying, the MJF Adam Cole pairing as a team, it's like maybe that wasn't in his original plan, but it's like it's working, it's moving ratings, it's moving merchandise. Maybe because I mean, look, we're all no dum-dums here. We know that obviously they're good. It's gonna fall out, and they're gonna have their one-on-one match, whatever. But did we need to just rush to it as quickly as we did? And I'm always willing to give the creatives the benefit of the doubt from one episode to the next. I just think that, especially seeing what happened on Dynamite of this week, I think they missed the point. I really do. I think they would have been well served to either have put the straps on them, on MJF and Adam Cole, and do the rematch of them against FTR at Wembley, and then maybe have some angle there.
Yeah.
That then catapults
Kinda
them
sounds
towards.
better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I don't know. Like again, like I'm all of the emotion of it all. Where it's like I like both these two, and Vlad, you mentioned MJF is he says it. He's a generational talent, and Adam Cole is fucking phenomenal. I know people talk about his physique and all that, and I've seen Adam Cole's physique go up and down through the years because I used to see him all the time in PWG, where he looks much more healthier now than he did when he was like he had like the I don't know, the bigger body, but he didn't look as good. But it's like I don't give a shit about physique. It's like Adam Cole is a great wrestler. He's a great talker. He's a great personality. He's awesome. MJF is awesome. I'm just not in. I don't want to see them wrestle each other. Not yet.
As friends, they're gonna shake hands like it's a ring of honor.
Yeah, and as friends, and I think the way that I'm seeing the storyline going, where I do think that it's gonna be Adam Cole it's like a double turn where he's the one that is going to ultimately stab MJF in the back, because and again, I mean, what the fuck do I know? I can't, because they've done this pseudo babyface turn with MJF before, and he went right back to being his standard heelness of it all.
Yeah.
For them to do that again, where he's coming out in his soul, telling the story again about the quarters that were thrown at him and Jew Boy pick it up. It just seems way too soon to try to tease fans' minds about him turning babyface, and then ultimately him being the one that is, MJF and is the ultimate heel. I think it's Adam Cole who is going to be the snake that will ultimately stab him in the back.
All right. Well, listen, we're 20 minutes into the show. That was a nice, good, deep discussion. Let's move along, though, because this is the AEW World Heavyweight title. But I don't know what that AEW World Heavyweight title is, but CM Punk also
that is the real World AEW Heavyweight Championship.
So over on Collision, they're going to be fighting for the real World Heavyweight title. Ricky Starks versus CM Punk has been set up. And first of all, let me just comment here first about this. I have a comment about this. Shouldn't someone have asked MJF about this? Like, where are all the reporters? Like, wouldn't a good reporter be like, hey, did you just hear what CM Punk said? He was in the main event in a tag title match. So there's that. And then another thing was Ricky Steamboat somehow was set up as a special guest referee for a match that was just randomly set up on the moment. I'm like, how the fuck did that happen? But okay, that's fine. But let's hear your thoughts on how the brand split, and there's 2 world titles now, and basically Collision and Dynamite are pretty separate. They have pretty different styles of show. And anything you want to comment on about all this? Again, I'm going to start with Bryan this time. Let's hear what you have to say about any of this.
Well, first of all, I would just say the reason that Ricky Steamboat has been involved is because of his past history with CM Punk and Ring of Honor. There was something that happened between the two of them way back in the day in Ring of Honor, where Ricky Steamboat was involved in some angle or some program that he had going on. So that's why CM Punk called out Ricky Steamboat.
Oh, he's just his friend. Like, he knows he'll come if I ask him.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. That's cool.
But honestly, like I'm enjoying Collision a lot, and I do like how there is a different cadence to this show versus Dynamite. And I've enjoyed every episode of Collision up to this point, and honestly, if I'm being honest, which I am, I'm not gonna lie to you, motherfuckers. I think I would probably hazard a guess where it's like I've probably enjoyed Collision more than Dynamite recently. But this whole situation of CM Punk carrying around this other belt, like I kind of just rolled my eyes from like, oh, here we go again. All right, so now we've got
That's
Punk.
true. It happened in WWE.
Yeah.
It did, yeah. It's like I'm kind of over people wrestling and like booking these matches for titles that are not recognized. I'm like, I don't care.
Well, he never lost it. Is there any?
I know he didn't. But to your point, Kayhan, where it's like I saw that segment and I thought the promo segment was great. I mean, CM Punk, I'm a big fan. Brawl out notwithstanding, whatever. Like, I'm glad he's back. I'm a fan of CM Punk. But when he introduced this concept, the fact that he is the, undefeated champion, he never lost that belt, whatever. I'm like, okay, I'm with you on that. But to your point, he never mentioned MJF, and MJF was on the show. The actual AEW World Champion was competing on the same show. There was no interaction. There was no mention. And I just found that odd.
Yes.
Because especially with MJF's character, where it's like, okay, so ostensibly he's in the back, right? Because he's in the main event of the show. We just talked about his match, And so CM Punk is out here talking about how he's the unclaimed or the undefeated champion. Like, no one beat him for this belt. And I'm like, well, I just kept waiting for MJF's music to hit or something to come out and be like, bro, all right, I hear you, but I am the AEW World Champion. And there was none of that. And they just kind of set up this match with Ricky Starks, which I'm sure will be good because I'm a big Ricky Starks fan. I love Ricky Starks.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I'm not, this is one of those things where it's, I'm sure the match will be good. And it's got Angle Alert written all over it because you got, Ricky Steamboat being a special guest ref. Like, I don't see this ending in any sort of, fashion where it's like we're going to get an answer to this whole thing. But yeah, the fact that MJF didn't come out and retort or even mention it in some passing way, like that stuck out to me like a sore thumb. So
all right, so it wasn't just me then. All right.
No.
Robert, were you thinking the same thing or what?
Not really. I just feel like since MJF has his own angle with Adam Cole at the moment,
preparing for a match,
and CM Punk has to deal with has his angle with Ricky Starks. They both have to kind of take care of their own business at hand first. But I do think like I believe the fans would think that MJF has his own thoughts about what CM Punk says, and at some point he will say something. It's just not now, but definitely, yeah, they're gonna come to blows again at some point. So it will be mentioned. They're just not doing it right now because they're both in their own separate angles. So yeah, I didn't really think that.
They're in their own separate universes. The Collision universe and the Dynamite universe.
Well, they could have done this tag team match on Dynamite so that they wouldn't have been in the same building, I guess. Could have been a small thing they could have done to fix that, but glad
you're right. I think FTR has been competing mainly in Collision since it started. I think so.
And Collision needs a big match to maintain, their ratings on that show. So I got no problems with them having that tag team match, that tag title match on Collision. And like I said, they did a great rating. So yeah, that's great.
Let me just get Vlad's thoughts real quick before we move on. Did this bother you the way it bothered me?
Not really. I kind of more with Robert on this one.
Two, huh? Okay.
Well, I mean, obviously there's a greater political issue within the company. The divide. There's no true leadership in the sense that people don't want to work with each other. People want to be on separate shows. It's pretty ridiculous when you're paying these guys the amount of money that some of these guys are getting to say, oh, I don't want to work here. I want to work here only. I want to work there. I mean, suck it up and work with each other, for God's sakes. You're getting paid 6 figures, 7 figures, some of you guys. Come on, man. It's ridiculous. Just get out there and be professionals. I mean, with the money that you're getting paid, with the TV time that you're getting. Anyway, that's a bigger story. As far as this, I don't want to go too much to that. Maybe you have that for another discussion. So I don't want to go too deep into that. But as far as this angle, I mean, obviously I'm happy for Ricky Starks. I want him to get some shine. I think he deserves it. He's a really good talent. He's He's really good on the
Agreed.
mic. He's been underutilized for so long. I think it's time that he's kind of in a main event angle. And the one thing I will say though, for Punk, he did mention MJF not this past week, but I think 2 weeks ago, or maybe it was past this. I know he mentioned MJF in one of those weeks. I can't remember now. It's all kind of blending in, where he did say like, when he was talking about Starks, like you're just this like MJF in the sense that you're just all talk or something to that effect. And that I'm the real champion, something to that effect. So he did mention him. I just can't remember if it was last week or 2 weeks ago when they were at their face-to-face.
Well, MJF mentioned Punk too, a little bit.
That's right. He did. He mentioned not in a good way, not in a nice way. But anyway,
it's all in the air. It's all in the air. This whole thing is hanging around.
And yes, of course, in the end, they're going to meet up, and have the match, or maybe more than one match. I don't know what the plan is, and it's going to be great. Hopefully, that's the hope. But that is the plan, and we'll see. So I'm happy with what's going on Collision, because I'm happy that Starks gets some shine. I think Punk has enough shine, and that he can that Starks gets some rub, as far as working with someone like Punk. So that's
all right. Well, listen, I'll come back to AEW in a little bit, but I'm gonna jump over to WWE. I got one more topic before, and then we got a game, and then we got Summerslam predictions.
We got games.
I got a game, kind of.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. A game. I can't. This I don't know what's coming with the game.
Wow.
Sort of.
I wasn't ready for this.
That's a great tease right there, Kayhan. I like it.
Well, I slapped something together, but you'll see. But before we get to that, we'll just talk about Dominik Mysterio and Rhea Ripley jumping all over the place, jumping to NXT. Bryan has stated in recent history that NXT is his favorite brand. I don't know if you're still keeping up with that.
Did I tell you that?
You did. Maybe you were a few drinks in. You told us.
Okay. Yeah. No. I very much enjoy NXT. It is. Now I'm gonna say this, and it's gonna probably come across like an insult, but I don't mean it as such. NXT is like a shoot work version of Glow. It is so out there, bonkers. Like the segments and some of the things they do on the show are brilliant. And then there are some things where I'm like, what the hell is?
Yeah, some things don't land.
It's Glow, like a lot of it, but it is the one show that I look forward to watching the most from week to week, because I know I'm probably gonna see a really good match, because it's a roster comprised of really good, talented individuals, men and women, and then it's NXT, it's developmental, and you've got these guys and gals that are green. And you have this whole hodgepodge of that on the same 2 hours. And it's just fascinating for me. I enjoy watching NXT so much. So, yeah, I'm a fan. You got Ilya Dragunov, who...
That's true. Dragunov is great. There are a few guys who are ready.
Right. And that's the thing. There's a lot of guys on NXT that are ready. Tyler Bate, Carmelo, Dragon Lee, Wes Lee. And they're there, and then you've got them paired up, and mixing it up with like some of the, the guys, like I said, that are green or that are getting their reps and their stripes, by being in developmental. And it's just like I said, it's just a fascinating watch. And
well, look, I gave you a little time to gush over NXT, but we don't cover everything on there. When guys from the main roster go down there, and something to pay attention to. Like I've been watching recently because Dom and Rhea have been down there with the North American title, and I don't know if you watched the Great American Bash, but that was a really great match that Rhea Ripley won for Dominik, basically. But just in general terms, I want to ask you guys about this dynamic between Dom and Rhea and the fans. Vlad, do you have any comments about how Rhea is like loved and Dom is like completely hated?
Well, I love the dynamic. I mean, I love and I also love that they're everywhere. I don't have any issue with it. I think it's great. I mean, I mean, it seems to, right? I mean, didn't you say that because of their presence, that NXT actually got a huge ratings bump?
Like 150,000 maybe,
Yes,
something
they
like
did.
that.
Yes, they did.
That's significant. 150,000. You know, that's not bad.
Yeah, that's true. That's a needle mover, a little bit of a needle mover. Shit.
I mean, considering I think they were always around like 550,000 or 600,000 maybe people watching, and then another 150. That's not bad. But anyways, I'm a big fan of Rhea. Obviously, she's an incredible talent. I mean, she is so good. It's not even funny. Her look, her work. I mean, it's just fantastic across the board. I have nothing but positive things to say about her, and I'm kind of happy that she's with Dominik, and kind of maybe he's with Dominik is with around some good veteran people, some guys that could kind of teach him the ropes a bit, and he's learning to be a really, really good heel, and he's got the crazy heat going for him. They won't let him say a word. I kind of like the dynamic. I'm happy with it. And, I'm glad that they're kind of on every show because I kind of enjoy their segments.
All right. Robert, you got any thoughts about the dichotomy between the hate and the love from these that they're getting?
First of all, I want to say Dominic Mysterio, man, he's such an inspiration. He's living proof that you could start off as an ex-con and still succeed in life.
Damn, that's true, man. Never thought about that.
Applause for Dominic.
And get a woman like Rhea.
Exactly. All right, so the dynamic between Dominic and Rhea, I think, is actually pretty fascinating, and it's funny because I guess Finn is the leader of Judgment Day, and what's the other guy's name again?
Damian Priest.
Damian Priest is the Money in the Bank winner, but they're like, I feel like they play a far less significant role as far as like as far as the fan interest in the Judgment Day. Like it's more Rhea and Dominic that people are interested in seeing like what happens next. With that group, right? They're the needle movers in that group, and Rhea, you could have, I guess you could say you could see that coming from like a long time ago. Dominic was a big surprise though. Yeah, I mean I love it, and I like that the fact that they're visiting like NXT and getting more eyeballs on that product.
Well, listen, Brian, before I go to you, I'll just mention, to me, I like it too, but there's one thing that bothers me that makes because we're smarks here, okay? There's one thing that makes the show kind of seem fake to me, is that Rhea is not getting any of the heat from Dominic. Like, shouldn't some of it be rubbing off onto her? Like, he's getting booed to hell, then she grabs the mic, and she's just beloved. Like, right? There's a little something off here about making the show kind of more believable to me. Is there anything there that you kind of thought too?
There's Jericho and Don Callis. Not to the same extent, but
well, yeah, I know, but my point is that it doesn't make sense that Rhea's not getting any of the heat that Dominic's getting. If the show is at all believed by the fans as being something that's supposedly supposed to be real, you're supposed to go along with the storyline, they're supposed to hate Rhea too. Like when she grabs the mic from Dominic, they're supposed to pour down on her. You're his friend. You're Dominic's friend. You're hanging out with him. We don't like this guy. But none of that comes across. None of it. So do I have a point at all here, or am I just overthinking this?
I disagree with you. I think Vlad said it. Like, I think the dynamic between Rhea and Dom is fucking brilliant. And I think the fact that Dom is as hated as he is and Rhea is as over as she is as a heel is what makes those two together work. And I love where she has now become basically like his kind of siphon, where she's like telling the crowd, all right, shut the fuck up, like let my man speak. And they're like, no. It's got this dynamic where it's engaged the crowd in a way that I think is fantastic. I know that Rhea is a heel, and she is a heel, but I like the fact that the bookers in WWE are not trying to overcorrect something that doesn't need overcorrecting. She's a heel. She cheats. She does her thing, but they're also recognizing that yes, people love her because she's badass, she's dope, and fans want to root for Rhea, even against the baby faces. I kind of, in other circumstances, I would not think that this dynamic works, but it's working for her. And she's like the over heel in a heel group comprised of other heels that are not as over as her. In particular, Dom. And when it comes to Dom, I think him, joining forces with Judgment Day has been the absolute best for his career, as young as it is in WWE. And I would go so far, and I'm so happy for him and how he's doing. I go so far as to say that Dom is the equivalent. Dom being in Judgment Day is the equivalent of Sami Zayn's involvement in the Bloodline, where he was that guy that turned that entire faction around. Like, I was always cold on the Judgment Day, especially when they first started with Edge. When they kicked Edge out and then Finn took over his role as the leader, I was still like, I don't know, this faction just seems like you're trying too hard to be cool, edgy baby faces. It's just not working with me. I give all the credit to the WWE creative, Triple H, they course corrected in a way that has been phenomenal. And I think Dom has been the linchpin that really set this faction. Like right now, I look at Judgment Day and like, not just me, I mean, we all like them now, but like they're moving numbers on NXT. Anytime that Judgment Day is involved in NXT, like I think Dom's match when he won the NXT North American title, that did better numbers than when Seth Rollins was down there competing against Braun Breaker. And a lot of it, I'm sure, had to say with the fact that, well, of course, Braun Breaker's not beating fucking Seth Rollins. I get that. But I think Dom, this dude is amazing. Judgment Day is amazing. This whole dynamic works. You've got Rhea, who's the women's, world champion. Damien's got the Money in the Bank. Dom's now the NXT North American champion. And I don't know if I'm, getting it too far ahead, but I think that Finn is going to beat Seth Rollins at SummerSlam. And this faction is just going to be up the wazoo with titles. Man. And you've got the dynamic of Finn being the champion, and they've already planted those seeds of the situation between him and Damien, where Damien's got the Money in the Bank, Finn wins the title from Seth, and you can, I mean, the storylines just write themselves as far as what you want to do with this whole faction. I am very bullish and high on Judgment Day, which I was not months ago, but they have killed it. Dom has killed it. I'm so happy for the kid. Being the son of a legend like Rey Mysterio could not have been easy. And I think this heel turn was something that is akin to when The Rock debuted. And he was that, they made him this white meat baby face. Nobody give a shit. They turned him heel, and he was off to the races. Not to say that, Dom is probably going to be in the realm of The Rock, but I'm just saying that there are certain times where you can turn someone heel, and it just galvanizes them as a character, as a performer. And I think, like you said, pairing them with these veterans, Rhea, Damien, Finn, and him working with them is only going to make him better in the long run. I love the Judgment Day. I love Dom. Give me more Dom. I want Dom on all the shows. Fuck it. Put Dom on AEW. Put him on Dynamite. Put him on Collision. Just give me all the Dom. Give me all the dirty Dom Mysterio. That's my.
That was not last week, but the week before that. Dominic Mysterio was the first WWE superstar to main event Raw, SmackDown, and NXT on the same week.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh.
Yep. Interesting point.
I didn't know about the SmackDown part. I didn't know about that.
Oh yeah, he showed up on SmackDown.
Yeah, because I don't really watch SmackDown, so I didn't know about that.
Yeah, he wrestled Butch in an impromptu match for the NXT North American title. Shawn Michaels.
Everyone wants that NXT North American title. Well, listen, so there's a lot of angles going on in the world of wrestling. Way too many for us to really be able to talk about all of them. We'll be here for hours. So I've come up with a little thingy here. Let me see if I can pull this up. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second.
Don't pull out your thingy.
No, not a thingy like that.
Oh,
all right.
Whoa, look at that.
I got a wheel of angles. Wheel of wrestling angles.
Okay.
We could spin.
Kayhan's gone all out for this episode.
Yeah, no, I'm impressed, brother. Damn, this is awesome.
We could spin this a couple times, maybe 2 or 3 times. If it lands on something really bad, just say, let's not talk about this. Because Alpha Academy and the Viking Raiders are on this wheel also. So
How long is it spinning?
well, I'm gonna spin it right now. You guys ready?
It's
go.
not really spinning.
All right, let's go. All right. Where to land,
LA
nobody
night.
knows.
LA night. Oh, okay. Never
Oh
mind.
my God, Andrade's mask.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Can we spin again?
You guys want
2 out of 3?
You guys want to spin again?
I wouldn't be opposed if you spun this motherfucker again.
Yeah.
All right. You know what? But let me take that off the list then.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'll take
hilarious.
that one
match,
off.
Good match, but yeah. No.
Yeah, good match. That's a good point. Okay. All right. Back to the wheel.
All right.
Sorry, I'm a little confused here with all my stuff. It's a little complicated, but
No, you're doing
I'm
good, bro.
sure
You're doing good.
You are doing,
All right,
you're doing
all right.
really well.
Yeah.
all right, let's go again. Next spin. I need a song for this. I need a song for this.
Okay.
Oh,
What the?
Oh,
Jade Cargill.
Okay.
Okay.
um,
all right.
Let's do it. Let's just
Well-
what do we got on Jade?
Yeah.
Well, Jade
She-
says she hates the wrestling business and never wants to come back after they gave her that big, long, undefeated push.
okay.
I think you're editorializing a little bit about that. I don't think she's come out and said that in those words.
Well, she said she's glad to be away from wrestling, basically, that, just happy to be away from it. I don't know. It doesn't seem like she's into the world of wrestling, and it's kind of sad because they put so much into her, AEW did. And I don't know. I think it was kind of a waste, personally. I don't know if it'll go anywhere. We'll see. I mean,
Well, I didn't take that harsh of a take as you're having. I think because I read her statements. She wanted to take some time away, and that's how I took it. It's like, she had her run, she got defeated. It's not uncommon for people to take a sabbatical and then come back. Like that's how I took it. I didn't take it as anything other than, she wanted to, maybe just spend some time at home with her family. I very much expect her to be back in AEW.
I mean, Ronda came back, but I don't
And she-
think she cares.
said a lot worse things about wrestling. And she said a lot
yeah.
worse things
Yeah.
about wrestling.
All right, let's move along then. Fine. Let's spin it again.
Well, no, you
Let's
don't
see
want to get Rob's opinion.
Hey, if anybody wants to, wants to jump in and talk about it, you got a
good.
point to make.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh, damn it!
Gunther drew.
Yeah.
This is a bad sign for LA Knight.
It probably is.
Gunther, for our audio podcast listeners, because this show is on audio form too, on Apple iTunes or wherever you find your podcasts. It landed on what did it land on?
Drew and
Was it
Gunther.
Gunther?
Drew and Gunther. Drew and Gunther instead of LA Knight. It almost hit LA Knight, but
Story
all
of
right.
my life.
if anyone think Drew McIntyre is gonna beat Gunther, or this is just another bump in the road for Gunther.
I don't know if he will, but I think they should keep the title on Gunther. Like they should keep his run going. That's just my opinion.
I mean, he's had it for quite a while. Drew McIntyre was a WrestleMania, beat Brock Lesnar in the main event of WrestleMania. I mean, he's not chopped liver here.
Oh, that's true.
Got to give him something too. I don't know. I don't think he's gonna win either. But
Yeah, I say Gunther. They're not
Yeah.
going to take the title off him just yet.
all right, just give it.
My only concern, I'll just say real quick, is that Drew was off for a while because there was some talk about him not being happy with his booking. Whether that's true or not, who knows? He came back. He's now in a pretty good angle with Gunther, who's obviously really good. I hope that Gunther kind of keeps it, and it's not like part of Drew coming back is that he was promised that he was going to win the title or something like that. But it's a thought that crossed my mind.
I would say, hold on, don't spin this yet. Gunther's my favorite, man. I love Gunther.
Oh, yeah.
Gunther. It would be booking malpractice if they had Gunther take the L against Drew McIntyre.
Oh yeah, I agree 100%.
So,
well, we're in agreement then.
Yeah, we are. I think all three of us are. Like, I think Gunther needs to win. Out of all of the NXT call-ups, I mean, the NXT call-ups, it just since NXT's been a thing as far as its current incarnation of NXT, I honestly would hazard a guess. I mean, obviously you got your Seth Rollins and people like that, Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns. The way that they've booked Gunther since he came to the main roster has been nothing short of perfect. There is no way, in my head at least, that you have Drew McIntyre beat him for this championship.
Yeah.
Because
So where you go with Gunther?
And I love Drew, and this is no indictment on Drew. I think Drew McIntyre is freaking awesome. I'm a big fan, but in the same way that whoever beats Roman needs to it needs to be a special type of cat. The same thing even for the Intercontinental title. Like the way they booked Gunther and his run, I don't think Drew winning does a whole lot to further make Drew. So it's like, yeah, you can put the strap on Drew and have him go over, but it's like, is that going to change the fans' perception of Drew McIntyre at all? I think people know Drew. It's like, you've been a world champion, you beat Brock Lesnar, you've done all these things. We know you're a top guy. For you to go in and beat Gunther, and then for the IC strap, I'm like, no, that doesn't make any sense. It's like, you don't need it. You'll be fine. You take the loss, you elevate Gunther. They've been doing a great job of it, and you keep it going. And I know that I don't know for sure, but he's close to eclipsing the Honky Tonk Man's record as Intercontinental Champion. And I think, WWE recently has been in this mold of like these records and like they want to break all these things. He's so close to it. It would be weird for him not to break the Honky Tonk's record at this point. So long live Gunther, long live Imperium. The ring is sacred. Let him never be beat. And that is my take on that.
Hey, he's a good candidate for World Heavyweight Champion probably at some point because Roman's gonna.
I must
down
say,
the line for sure.
Since we're talking about Gunther, I just thought of this right now. I really love his entrance. It's awesome.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's really cool.
I agree with Bryan too. He's been perfect. Like, there's nothing more you could ask from him. I don't know what else you could ask from him. He's done his. He
lost the weight. Like they always said, it's like, hey, and like me personally, like I loved Heavy Walter. With he just looked like a big burly dude that was like, yeah, I do not want to get in a fight with you. He lost the weight, slimmed down, and he's still a badass. I was like, he's my favorite guy, honestly, on the roster right now.
Well, with his work, just the fact that his work is so stiff, but like still really good. It's just. Panels have really come along too, I think. So
there you go. There
he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, you froze up a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Did you guys lose me?
Yeah.
No, it's good now.
All right, I was just saying that big fan of Gunther and his work, and obviously I think promos are coming along as well. Is basically what I said.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, Vlad. If you sound good right now, but if anything happens, you might have to restart your iPad. But we'll see. Give it a minute. All right. By the way, also, Bryan, yes, freeform, anything you want to anytime you want to interject, don't wait for me to ask you guys to talk. We're all friends here. You can cut us off whenever you want. So, well, where are we? We're 55 minutes in. What do you think? Couple more spins we got, or what?
Yeah. Let's go.
All right,
I want the LA Knights.
If we want to talk about LA Knight, we might just do that, even if we don't. It's true. I gotta ask Brian's opinion, but let's just give it a spin.
Yeah, but I love this game here. I love this game. The walls
of Takeshita.
Oh God.
So Don Callis, Chris Jericho, JAS. If you guys know what's going on, Takeshita. I mean, Vlad is over this whole JAS angle. It's getting a better ending than the whole NWO angle did. You know, like it's so important. I mean, I don't think Vlad even wants to comment on this, but if anybody wants to comment,
I mean, if somebody else does, maybe I'll add something, but I don't want to start. That's for sure.
No, I want Vlad to start because I don't know your feelings on this whole thing. So please.
Oh my God!
All right.
Jay, well, give us your thoughts about Chris Jericho and the JAS breakup and him joining the Don Callis family and Takeshita dedicating his new move to him, the walls of Takeshita. Oh, Vlad froze up. Oh, too bad. Well, we're gonna ask him to restart his iPad and come back on the Zoom.
Can you guys hear me or no?
Oh, we could hear you, but you're not. Oh, now you're fine. Now you're fine.
Yeah, we're gonna ask you to restart your thing, and you can come back on if you don't mind.
I'll try to restart and see what happens. You guys continue on, and I'll see if that helps.
We might do a spin without you. We'll do a spin without you.
Do whatever you guys got to do. Then I'll come back to it. No problem.
All right. Where is Robert?
Right
Can I do a spin without him?
I see Robert.
Well, I gotta readjust these pictures. Since Vlad is. I know the names don't match now. Shit.
Oh, now I'm the wrestling expert. Finally, I've always wanted.
And now I'm Robert. Hey, I'm Robert. Hey, good to see you, brother.
I've always wanted to be the wrestling expert.
Our audio podcast listeners will not know what the hell we're talking about.
What's going on? Yeah.
I look like a Vlad, so that works. All right. Okay, now Vlad is in the Matrix.
Yes, let's.
Yeah. Hey, I'm in there too. I'm in the Matrix with him.
Oh, Vlad's back.
Do you take the red pill or the blue pill?
I've taken all the pills they can.
I took them both. And now I'm just confused.
And that's how I ended up here talking to you guys.
It's like reality still sucks.
yeah, exactly. No matter what pill I took. Okay, but did you guys spin again while I was away or no?
No, we didn't have time.
No, we didn't. You're good.
Give me a second.
So, okay. I'll give you a second. Let me know when I can actually, what this subject we're actually talking about.
Well, I got you.
No, not this one. Oh, damn.
Asuka, Bianca, and Charlotte. Anybody have anything to say while I fix our images? If anybody wants to jump in on this, I mean, I don't know. I think this is kind of just a filler angle. They're all good workers, great workers, but
I don't know if there's much to say about it, honestly. There's not really much to discuss. I think it's going to be a good match. It's like you said, they're all really good in their own ways. They have different styles, all three, but there's not really anything really to discuss, I don't feel. I mean, unless somebody wants to say who should win the triple threat. I mean, does anyone have it? I mean, I personally think Bianca should have the title, but I think she deserves it. You know, she should have it again. And I don't know. That's just my feeling on it. But other than that, right? Is there anything?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm with you, Vlad. Like, there's not a whole lot. I haven't been very enamored with this whole storyline. I think this is for me. Like, this is one of those situations where I'm like, okay, the build to this match for me has not been all that compelling, but because of the women that are involved, like the match, I think will be great. As far as who wins, like I think Asuka should retain. If for nothing else, if for no other reason than the fact that, and again, for me, like this whole story just hasn't really hit. And in a situation where the storyline, like it doesn't feel like people are all that invested in this story. and it's a triple threat. It's like just keep the belt on the champion, and hopefully coming out of this, we can start to settle in on a straight one-on-one feud with a challenger, whether that's Bianca. I'm hoping it's Bianca again, or Charlotte, but just I don't know. And that's just my bias. I'm not a big fan of triple threats to begin with, especially
Of course.
triple threat and multi-man matches that determine titles. I'm not a fan of those. So, but I think the work will be great because I'm a fan of all three women. They're amazing. Asuka in particular. I think Asuka is, male or female. I think she's one of the best wrestlers on the roster.
All right. Well, I don't really have much to say about this angle. I think it'll be a good match. I'll watch it. I think it'll be fun. But I think it's one of the weaker angles going on. But it's okay. There has to be some angles that pop out and some that don't. So I'll give it another spin. There's one angle on here that really sucks. that I think Vlad wouldn't want it. It's that Best Friends Lucha Brothers one. Oh, no. He got out of it. Ronda Shayna.
Ronda.
Really?
Yeah.
That's better. Thank goodness. Okay. Vlad, you texted me about this saying this was a great package on Raw, and I couldn't believe you. I was like, yeah, whatever. Stop wasting my time with this text. And then I got home, and I watched Raw, and I was like, yeah, that was actually pretty meaty package. That's what she said. But
yeah, it's a meaty package, yeah.
Vlad, what do you think? You got any comments about this? I mean, other than, we all know what the politics of it are, and Ronda's leaving, and she'll probably put Shayna over. I mean, you could just praise the package if you want. That's what she said.
That's what she said to him. Praising the package. Well, look, that really has been the highlight of the whole thing, right? I mean, that was really good. I was like stunned that was actually, it felt real. It felt really good. It felt like it wasn't really scripted. It felt like from the heart for both of the women. So I thought it was fantastic across the board. I can't believe that came from this really weak angle because the previous couple of weeks they've just been kind of bland and didn't really feel like they were into it at all. So that was either it's a credit to the WWE producers or directors, or it's a credit to the women that were able to kind of finally say what they wanted to say, prior to their match at Summerslam. I don't know. But either way, great stuff. But that's really the whole feud.
So Shayna is mad because Ronda let her live with her, but only because she would have to be her sparring partner and get the crap kicked out of her all the time. And now it finally boiled over. Is that the angle here? Am I getting it right?
Yeah, that she took advantage of her and all that.
Yeah. I was gonna say I think it's a little more than that, but yeah.
She took advantage of her. Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think this is a dark horse for being a really good match on this show because they hang out together and they'll probably rehearse the match move for move. Why not? They have time. They probably got a ring. So I think this could be a solid one, personally.
For me personally, looking at this card for SummerSlam, I think this is probably the match I'm looking forward to the most.
Interesting.
I'm a big fan of Shayna Baszler. I think she's fucking awesome. Her NXT work was fantastic. And I know that her and Ronda, they've been wanting to do this feud for a while. And I was upset when they finally put them together, but as a tag team, I'm like, no, I don't want to see this as a tag team. I want to see them go at it. And yeah, it seemed like they hot-shotted this whole breakup angle because I think the other reports that I've read and heard is that Ronda just wanted out. But before she left, she wanted to have her match against her friend. And I think it's going to be a great match. I think Ronda is going to give her everything. Shayna is going to, and I think Shayna will end up coming out on top. And I don't know. I kind of feel like my hopes for this match are pretty high, and I'm hoping that they can, meet them. And I think they will. But I thought those packages were fantastic, and I'm like, I would love to see more of that on Raw, SmackDown, and just wrestling in general. Because they made it feel like a fight. Like there is a personal issue here. This is why. And yeah, I'm looking forward to getting into the ring or whatever to settle this and to come out and be like, yeah, bitch, I'm the chick or whatever the fuck. Like, I can't wait for this match. I'm super stoked for it. And if this is Ronda's last match in WWE, at least for the time being, I'm hoping that she brings her A game. I think she will. I mean, she wants to do right by her friend, and I think they're gonna kill each other. I'm expecting like some Gunther, Ilya Dragunov like levels of violence in this match. That's what I'm expecting.
Maybe they should just let them shoot. Any chance they just let them shoot? Robert, who would win in a shoot? Ronda with a kid or Shayna right now?
In a shoot, Ronda, I would say.
Yeah, still.
They were both in MMA fighters, but Ronda obviously had a lot more success. I would say Ronda would win.
I mean, yeah, even in those video packages, wasn't the whole point where it was like Ronda was like, yeah, I think Shayna Baszler was like, yeah, I never tapped out or whatever until she does. I think, yeah, I mean, in a shoot, Ronda is probably going to be the one. Yeah. But this ain't a shoot. This ain't a shoot, brother.
They should just let them go out there and shoot. That would be cool. But okay, I know that's not gonna happen. That's a Kayhan booking. That's if Kayhan Vince Russo. But why don't you guys just go out there and shoot? Okay. Anyways.
Leave Vince Russo far away from everything.
Please, yes.
Well, listen. We're coming close to an hour and 10 minutes. What do you think? I mean, you want to talk about LA Knight, obviously.
Let's just talk about LA Knight.
Bryan,
yeah.
You want to do it before we move on to our Summerslam predictions?
All right.
Let me talk to you.
All right.
Let me talk to you.
Go ahead, Bryan. Talk to us. What's up with LA Knight? Is he going to get this push or no? Like, what's going on?
Hey, look, I don't know. I don't know what's happening with him. All I know is that I've been watching Sean Ricker. I remember the first time I saw him, it was Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. They had a show that they had on local TV here in LA, KDOC. And I remember the first time I saw him, and Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, a lot of, indie, very lo-fi pro wrestling, but it was on TV. This guy stood out in a way that the first time I saw him cut a promo, I'm like, oh, WWE's going to scoop him up, like lickety-split. And again, this is like 2010. 2010. Maybe 9 even. I don't know. And he was being managed by Percy Pringle, Paul Bearer, for a time on that show. And I just saw this guy, and I was like, man, this guy is so great. And it's like, just his speaking and his promo ability. I'm like, this is exactly what WWE looks for. And, I know he had a brief stint in NXT or FCW, never made it to TV, and then was released, and then went back to the Indies, Impact, his TNA run. He finally comes back to NXT. Like I've been a fan of LA Knight for a long time, and I've seen his charisma, I've seen his potential. I'm like, this guy has the makings of a star. He called himself the mega star. This dude is, and from Max Dupree being the head of Maximum Male Models to regaining his NXT name, LA Knight, and being put out there. And
that was tough. That was tough.
And being put out there after that in a position where he wasn't meant to really shine and get over, but did in spite of that, is everything. Like, that is wonderful. And I am hoping that the powers that be within the company are seeing this. And I know I've read some reports where it's like, oh yeah, we've got plans for him post SummerSlam, da-da-da. I just hope for the best for this guy because I've been a fan for a long time. And I just think he has it. He has it. And he has the crowd. They love this dude. He's a great promo. Is he the best in-ring worker? No. But you know what? I don't give a shit. I don't care. Because I like him as a personality. The best matches that I've ever seen in my life largely have nothing to do with the work rate. It's I give a shit about who wins and who loses. And I think that's when pro wrestling works at its best, where you can get yourself so involved in the outcome, where it's like, yeah, I mean, obviously I don't want to see, sloppy mistakes or whatever, but I'm so invested as a fan that I just want my guy to win. And right now, I'm that guy. I'm that, what's it called? The Malapert Smark. I'm the Malapert Smark. And I'm smarking for LA Knight because I want this guy to win. I want him to succeed. And I just want the best for this guy. And barring that, if he doesn't get that push, if this is another Zack Ryder type situation, well, then I can just lean into the fact that a guy that I've been a fan of for years is at the very least working for a company and getting paid what he's worth. You know what I mean? He's in WWE. He's at least getting paid. Like, that was my thing with Bryan Danielson when he went to WWE. I'm like, he's my favorite wrestler of all time. He's in WWE. I don't expect him to have these great matches like he did in Ring of Honor. I'm just happy for him that he's finally in a place where he's being paid what he's worth. And obviously that ended up being way better than I expected. But for LA Knight, I'm glad where he's at. I'm glad that he's getting the shine. His merchandise is selling. And yeah, I want the most for him. I'm a fan. Yeah. I wanted to bring back the dummy. I love him to bring that back. But yeah, I'm a big fan of LA Knight. So yeah, that's how I feel.
But you're right though. As a Smark, as people who analyze the show, this is wrong that he's not getting a push, right?
Exactly.
This is like so messed up. It's like basic wrestling. The fans like a guy, push him and make the fans happy. Like, what is your problem? What is the deal here? I don't get it. There's
no negative to it, to be honest. Like, as over as he is, like, what's the negative? It's like, okay, maybe he didn't factor into their plans, but the fans like him, so let's try. And if he takes off, he takes off. If he doesn't, then okay, then the company was right. It's like, oh, we tried, it didn't work out, whatever. But
yeah, plenty of things don't work out.
There's no harm in trying because the fans love him. I love him. And I'm sure I'm gonna hazard a guess that you guys like LA Knight too.
Oh,
yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Everybody loves LA Knight right now. Everybody.
Well, Brian, let me ask you just this one thing that I think me and Kayhan talked about it on the show last week. There seems to be some rumblings that LA Knight rubs people the wrong way backstage. Now, I kind of with Kayhan that I don't think it should matter because that's always been the case across the board in wrestling. There's a lot of
business, guys. It's a business.
Thank you, Rob. Oh, I was going to say the same thing. This is the pro wrestling business.
Oh, I'm with you. But there's always politics in this stuff. So I'm just wondering, do you think that could be playing a part of why they're not pushing him yet, or if they even plan to? I mean, who knows, right?
I mean, look, that can always play a part, but I've heard this whole thing, I've got friends that are in pro wrestling who have had that stigma attached to them where it's like, oh, well, they run people the wrong way or this, that, and the other. And, that can mean a multitude of things. And especially when you're dealing with a company as big as WWE, that could just be a couple of people's opinion who, for whatever reason, don't like a guy and are putting a thing out there saying he's hard to work with or whatever, because he may question the creative direction, or he may have questions about his character. To me, that doesn't mean hard to work with. That means a guy that's invested, that is just trying to really get a sense of where his character fits within the grand scheme of things. But even if he was like a dick, and I don't know that he is, I haven't heard that at all, but I'm just saying, I'm just looking for the most negative thing. Let's say he's a dick. He goes out there and he's getting a reaction that most people in the back would kill for. They like this guy. So as a business, it's like, well, yeah, not to be, no pun intended, maybe we should do something with this guy to, at the very least, even if, let's say he's the worst person backstage, and I'm being hypothetical. Okay, fine. Maybe he is. But he's moving merchandise. The crowd loves him. So let's push him and try to get as much out of him before the whole thing blows up. Whatever. It's a business. You've got these talents. Maximize the strike while the iron is hot. That is my thing. And that is my take with the worst scenario, which I don't believe that I don't really believe these reports that he's like hard to work with and this, that, and the other, because I've seen that label get thrown to people wrongly, where it's like, I'm not hard to work with. I'm just asking questions here. Like, I just want to know where the creative is going. That doesn't make me hard to work with. I'm just invested. And yeah, don't put that label on me,
It's a very fair point. Yeah.
Maybe WWE just like yes men, like, hey, we don't have a good plan tonight. We just need you to go do this job. We don't have a lot of time to talk about this. I'm busy. Just go do it, please. I don't know. I don't know what it is. All conjecture, guessing. I have no clue. I don't know why he hasn't gotten a run yet. It's way overdue.
But I think so. So here's the thing, right? So he's in this Slim Jim Battle Royal.
He's gonna win it, you think? But win. I thought that before. I thought that about that U.S. title tournament first round match. I was all excited about that too.
Me too. Me too. I thought, yeah.
All right. So, well, listen.
Yeah.
Sorry, Brian. Well, this is already becoming one of the longest shows we've done, which is nice. You're here. It's a special episode. No. That's great. It's honestly.
I can be long-winded, so just you can just tell me B. Stop.
Well, no, I mean, we're going to do our SummerSlam predictions because SummerSlam is in a few hours here tomorrow. And, well, the last thing I think deserves a mention before we jump to that is Rob Van Dam coming back on Dynamite, which was a really cool, nostalgic moment to me. And I love RVD. I feel like he got overpushed in TNA when he went over AJ Styles. But, it's still nice to see him. I don't think he's going to beat Jungle Boy. But anybody want to comment about RVD? This is your chance before we move on to our SummerSlam predictions. All right.
I'm a fan of RVD. Yeah, good to see him. That's about it.
I'm not really. I mean, it's good to see that he's doing well. But
that he's alive. Well, he only smokes weed. He doesn't do that other stuff.
Well, that's why I was saying. I cut myself off. He's not one of those that was ever on the juice, so he should be fine.
He looked like a mad pothead, marching down that aisle, going to jungle.
Mad pothead.
He probably is a mad pothead. Yeah.
He was pissed. That Jungle Boy really ruined his buzz, man. When he was like, heard him talking, he's like, what the hell? What is this guy saying? All right, SummerSlam 2023 is tomorrow. Ricochet versus Logan Paul. That's your boy, Brian. Ricochet. Are you enjoying this push that he's been getting, being in the spotlight with Logan?
It's been good, but it's been unfortunate because I know that the only reason that they paired them together was to give Logan Paul a win.
Yeah, he needs a win.
That's exactly what I expect going in. But I think, again, I look at Ricochet. It's like, dude, he's another guy from the Indies that I've loved for years. I've probably been to more wrestling shows and have seen him wrestle more than any other wrestler in my life. And so I'm glad to see that he's getting this platform. But yeah, I think it'll be a fun match. But yeah, Logan's definitely gonna go over, in my opinion, because he has not won since last year's SummerSlam, where he beat The Miz, I want to say.
I agree.
He's due for a win.
I pick Logan also. Vlad?
Yeah, definitely think it's going to be Logan. He can't lose every match that he's basically every big match that he's been on. So I think he's definitely due for a win. So,
Robert, you want to pick Ricochet or what? No.
Well, let me just say I really don't like the Paul brothers. It's funny because Logan Paul has a match against Ricochet, and then his brother Jake Paul has a boxing match against Nate Diaz the same day. I would want both of them to lose, but I think Logan's actually gonna win against Ricochet.
So you think Ricochet is gonna get his girlfriend insulted and then lose the match?
I'm sorry. No, my bad. Did I say? I meant to say Logan's gonna beat Ricochet. I don't want Logan to win, but I do expect him to win.
Yeah.
Okay. I never knew
maybe Jake Paul, his brother, could lose against Nate Diaz later on that night.
that would be nice.
Yeah.
I never knew the ring announcer was Ricochet's girlfriend. That was interesting to me, and I like her. I don't know her name, but I think she's really good.
Samantha. Yeah.
Yes.
I've seen some of her Instagram pics.
Yes, Instagram pics. Yes, that's what they are.
All right. Gunther and Drew, we already did. Everyone said Gunther. Okay. I guess I'll go along with that. How about Asuka, Bianca, and Charlotte? Anybody want to make a prediction? It's kind of a tough one to me.
I'll go with Asuka.
Yeah, it's not
I'm
tough to
gonna
me.
say Asuka.
What do you think, Brian?
Well, I already mentioned that I think Asuka should win, so I'll pass it to Vlad.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Bianca. Maybe just by personal preference. Maybe with just not even thinking booking wise. That's who I'd want to win.
Yeah, I don't know. That's tough. I mean,
It's a good choice. I like Bianca. Yeah.
If Asuka wins, they'll just continue this weird feud. So, I don't know. I guess I'll go with Bianca. I don't know. That's a tough one. That's a weird one.
So two for Asuka, two for Bianca.
Yeah.
All right.
No Charlotte.
Hey, Rob, me and you, we won this pick.
All right.
Well, part of my decision making on choosing Asuka, besides the fact that I'm a big fan of Asuka, is I feel like Io is gonna challenge her at some point. Like there's gonna be a Io versus Asuka feud.
Yeah.
soon.
Well, Io could potentially be in the match. That's happened. She could walk out of this match with the title. That is someone you could pick. You could pick that, I guess. But all right. How about I think this is an interesting one. Seth and Finn. I want to say that after everything that Finn has said about how his life has been ruined and he can't think about anything else, and it's just all it means to him in the world. Like if he loses, this would be like really weird for him. Like where would he go after that? I don't know. So I think Brian mentioned it earlier. I think I'm gonna go with Finn Balor on this one. I mean, it goes against what I said a few weeks ago that I think Seth Rollins is going to have a really, really long title reign. But I just think for this storyline and just the fact that the Judgment Day is really hot right now, I'm going to pivot and I'm going to say I think Finn's going to win. Vlad, what do you think? You agree?
I do agree. I think it's time that the Judgment Day wins some big matches. You know, they've always kind of come on the losing end of these matches. You know, Damian Priest lost some matches. Finn has lost some matches. Dom always loses. I mean, the only one that always wins usually is Rhea. So, I don't know. I think it's time that they get a big win here, and I think it would further the angle between Finn and Priest, which is, they have some tension there, obviously, it's been building. So, yes, I think that's the direction to go because while I like Seth Rollins as a wrestler, I mean, his title reign is bland, and I don't care what anyone else has to say about it. His character makes no sense, and it's just time to move on from him as the champion.
Vlad, you just turned babyface. I mean, I don't know of any wrestler that's working today in a major promotion that I love so much for their in-ring ability and skill, but at the same time loathe their character.
Oh my God, yes.
Seth Rollins, the character, Seth Rollins' current gimmick, whatever, the laugh and all that dumb shit, like he is like just fingernails on a chalkboard to me.
Yeah, I agree 100%. 100%.
When he wrestles, but when he wrestles, one of the best, not only in WWE, but one of the best, just period. He's phenomenal. I think, I'm with you on that. I think Finn needs to win this. Just a man, not only the Judgment Day's kind of current push and hotness, but for him to finally get that win over the guy that he beat to win the Universal Championship, but then had to forfeit it. You know, I think he buttons up that story. And I think Finn's been on a roll of late. Like, I think this is the best version of Finn Balor that I've seen on the main roster since he got to the main roster, being with Judgment Day. So I hope he wins. At the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if Seth does. But as a fan, I'm hoping that Finn takes it.
Yeah.
Robert, your pick, please.
I think because of the angle with Finn and Damian Priest, I think it would only make sense that Finn picks up the win here. So I'll choose Finn also.
All right, we got two more matches. Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar. Let's start with Robert.
Cody Rhodes, and I hope this is the end of their feud.
That's what they say. That's what they say. They said that on Raw. This is the end.
That's what I gotta say about that. I'm kind of tired of this.
I could stretch this out another couple years if I
Not
had
me.
to.
No.
Couple
Another
years?
couple years?
Yeah,
No.
yeah, they could go to each other's houses, show up at their ranch and all that. No, if they really wanted to distract Cody from whatever world title he's supposed to win, that he's never going to win, I don't think. But Vlad,
You're still on this.
I don't think
Okay, yes.
Cody will ever win the world title personally, but that's just me.
Well, that's a weird take.
I've said that. That was on one of my first shows. Was the hottest take I had.
Okay.
Yeah, I disagree too, but yeah,
I think he loves the chase.
I'll agree that that's a hot take, but I don't agree that that's gonna.
that's not a hot take. That's just a weird bad take.
I'll believe it when I see it.
The hot take.
I'll believe it when I see it. Vlad, I need your pick.
So yes, yes, it's Cody. I've actually enjoyed the feud, but yes, I think it's time it comes to an end because what more can you do? The blow-off should be SummerSlam, so yeah.
So it's just a normal match, right? It's a singles match, or is it some kind of hardcore match or something?
They haven't put any stipulation to it. No gimmick. So.
Okay, so Cody clean then, huh? He's just gonna beat him. Nothing weird.
I think so.
Huh.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope so. I mean, I'm picking Cody as well, and I'm glad that there's no crazy stip. Like, I don't know. I don't consider myself like a purist, or maybe I am, but I think there's nothing wrong with just having a match. It doesn't need to have a stip. It's you're gonna win, you're gonna lose. Like, I think Cody should go over. I think he will go over, and I think it'll be good. And he will move on to the next thing, which, I mean, Kayhan, you mentioned where it's like, well, what's next if he does win, and that is a question.
That's right. That is a big question.
That's a big question, but I think he needs to win to just close this story. And Brock doesn't need the win. The win will do way more for Cody. And then, we can get him out of this. I think, 3 matches, boom, just a rubber match. He's going to win, hopefully.
All right. Speaking of matches with stipulations, the last one is called Tribal Combat. And some people might think that's another word for no DQ hardcore match, I guess.
It is what it is. Yeah.
Okay, so that's just what it'll be. I guess Solo could just be in the match. It could just be a 2-on-1 match. They could do it like that, like Shane and Vince used to do, just outright. I guess don't even start like the match 1-on-1. Just go. I mean, look, this is another in a long list of guys: Drew McIntyre, Sami Zayn, Cody Rhodes, who look like they should have beat Roman Reigns, but ended up losing by some kind of shenanigans or interference. I mean, this will be another one probably. Jey Uso, because I mean, a part of me thinks that if he's gonna put anyone over, maybe he'd want to put a family member over. So there's a little part of me that thinks that I guess Jake maybe could win, but no, because it would ruin everything. Roman's going to be the champion for 5 years, I think.
I
5
love
more
how
years.
you're twisting yourself in knots trying to figure out a way that Jey Uso is going to beat Roman Reigns.
See,
Like,
Kayhan, when you listed all those names, out of all those names, Cody was the only one that I thought would have like legitimately beat Roman. Like everybody else, like I knew that.
I was going to say Sammy and Cody were the only ones that, to me, were built up in a way where it's like, okay, I could see it, and Sammy being a very distant second to Cody. But like no, there's no way that Jey Uso was beating Roman Reigns. He shouldn't beat Roman Reigns right now. Like the person who beats Roman needs to be special. And I love Jey Uso. I love him. There's a reason why he was the one that got the pin on Roman at the last what was that? Money in the Bank.
Money in the Bank.
Yeah. Okay, Jay got the pin to set up this. He's not pinning him in a singles match. There's just no freaking way. No, Roman's going to win, and he should win. There's no, no. I mean, unless you're Vince Russo, just for shock value, and you want to have Jey Uso beat Roman Reigns after all this time. It's like, no. Roman's going to win, and he should win.
Okay. So everyone's in agreement then?
Yeah, for
Roman.
sure. It has to be. It has to be Roman. It would make no sense booking wise to just it would make no sense.
Do you expect to see anybody? Rikishi,
Oh,
anybody like that. I mean, not today. Not.
I've actually been expecting to see some of those guys for like the past couple of like Roman's big matches. I mean, I don't know if they're just like saving it for when he actually does lose, but they've made mention of the elders, Alpha, Sika, all these guys.
Right.
Like it'd be great for them to show up at a time, but I'm not sure if I'm expecting to see them on Saturday. But I think when we do see them, I think that might be when he's actually dropping the championship. So maybe next year's WrestleMania against Cody. I don't know.
Okay. I've already. I'll send you a link to my prediction about
like,
that. About
that's not happening.
Cody will. I think Cody loves not getting the title. I think like once you get the title, it's like where do you go after that? I don't think it's going to be Cody. I mean, maybe he could win the world heavyweight title, possibly. I don't think.
Okay, well, if not Cody, then who?
I don't think anyone's going to do it. I think Roman's going to be there as long as he's healthy and good looking. 5 more years, maybe 6
Seriously,
years.
though, I mean, obviously he's
Why not?
I mean, no.
There's another title.
Because it's wrestling, and he's not going to win. He's not going to have the belt in perpetuity. Like, just give a name. Like, is there anybody that you?
They've done that.
Or no, but come on. I mean, okay, just as an exercise.
I really don't know. If it's not Cody, then I don't know. I don't know. There's no one else.
That's why it's gonna be Cody. That's why it's gonna be Cody. Process of elimination. If there's anybody else,
if he wins the Royal Rumble and fights Roman Reigns and wins the title, I'll shut up. But I just don't know. I
can throw out some names. I mean, outside. I mean, I do think Cody should be the one to beat him. But okay, so you've got Braun Breaker. Depending on how they feel about him, if they wanted to really do something with him and have him kind of shock the world, I could see him potentially being somebody that could dethrone Roman. Who else? The long shot. Gunther. He's been a guy that's been protected. They're two heels, but a guy that's been protected, has looked strong in all of his matches, which is very key. Gunther I love him because he wins because he wins. He just beats the shit out of people and power bombs them to death, and he takes the L or the W.
But Brian, listen, can I interrupt you? Because
yeah, of course.
I mean, these are all okay names, but the thing is, if you're not going to do it at WrestleMania this year with Cody when he had it perfectly, like on a silver platter, why would it be Gunther? Why would it be Braun Breaker? You want to start all over again and build up another baby face?
I am producing names that you weren't able to. That's my point. So
I can give you a name, L.A. Knight. How about that? L.A. Knight, World Heavyweight Champion.
I like
LA. That one. MJF.
Yeah.
But L.A. Knight's not the guy to the throne.
Yeah. Yeah, well, exactly. They don't even let him. They don't even
it's
let him.
Gonna
be,
be no. I know.
Escobar.
I know who it's gonna be. It's gonna be MJF in 2024. There you go.
There we go. It probably will. Well, if he decides to,
Yeah.
If Bruce Pritchard decides to step in there, but anyway,
babyface MJF. Dude, WWE fans.
Oh hell!
Oh god,
that's it, Brian. That's it. You lost.
That would kill Robert.
Robert
would literally have a heart attack and stop watching wrestling altogether if that happened. No, but I think it has to be Cody as well, just for the record, and I think it will be. And I think what's going to happen until WrestleMania, Roman's going to lose more and more of like the remainder of his family and whatnot. I think eventually he might even have a feud with Solo. I mean, that's just my guesses. I mean, that's kind of what they've already been teasing. So until like he has nobody left, and then like come WrestleMania, just going to be like nobody's going to give him the hope that he always has in all these matches, right? So, and I think that's why that's why Cody will finally defeat him at WrestleMania.
And let's not. I agree with you. I agree with you, Vlad. And let's not also discount the fact that there's another Fatu out there in MLW.
Oh yes, I've
heard
so many good things, but love to see him here.
He's freaking great. He's Solo like times 10, and
he's bigger.
But I do think that I think he might have re-signed with MLW, which is I've always thought about that. I'm like, why isn't this guy in WWE already? Because he's definitely ready-made. I don't know if there's some story behind that, but whether he starts feuding with Solo or starts losing members, I was just thinking about him always being like the back pocket, where that's a Fatu that could potentially be on the market that could join up with Roman. But yeah, I'm with the crew here, not you, Kayhan, that Cody should and probably will be the one to beat Roman.
All right.
What about the Rock? Really quick? What about the Rock? I mean, they were always teasing the Rock and Roman. I mean, not that Rock should beat him, but they should have some sort of.
No, Rock should not beat him.
No,
I don't think Rock should beat him.
No, not to beat him, but like to have a match.
See, I don't even want to see that. Maybe I'm the outlier. Like, I don't care about that match because I know that Rock's only there for the match, and he's gonna lose. And it's like, well, okay, you wasted my time for this. Like, and I love The Rock. He's the guy that really got me into pro wrestling. Like, but in 2023 or 2024 potentially, it's like, okay, you're gonna have Roman Reigns wrestle The Rock. Yes, it will be an attraction, but there'll be no drama in it. Like, I know there's no way Rock's gonna beat him, unless, like, the only way I would have any sort of interest is if Roman had already dropped the title, and then they have this match, and then it's like, oh, okay. Well, how are they going to go? You know, that is, but with the title on the line, I really have no interest because he's not going to win. Like, Rock's not going to be defending that thing.
The champion, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense, yeah.
Well, all right, guys, listen. I'm a big fan of this episode. It's one of my favorite episodes of the Malapert Smark Wrestling Podcast. We try to do one of these every week, Brian. We're like WWE Monday Night Raw. Even if there's not much to talk about, or if I just got out of jail or something, I'm gonna do a show every week.
The show goes on.
The show somehow I'll get a show on the air. but listen, I'm so glad you finally came on. I know you'd rather be out, maybe partying or hooking up with chicks or something, but I'm really honored that you would spend.
I'm glad to have been here, and I love. And again, I'm glad for the invite too, because this is what we talk about at the bar. So
it's super easy. I mean, I prepare and I get real nervous, but once I press record, it kind of comes out real natural. Yeah. So if you want to come on from time to time, or maybe on a bigger episode, maybe the 50th or the episode, or whatever, you're always welcome.
I appreciate that.
I'll send you Zoom invites. You don't have to come on all the time or whatever you're up to. I know you're a busy, hardworking man, but thank you for your insight today.
I'm no busier than the rest of y'all. You know what I mean? And this is fun. And like I said, I mean, you guys are my friends, and I love talking wrestling. And no, this has been great.
Yeah, I'll send you some links tonight and tomorrow if you want to post some stuff to your Instagram or something. But all right, well, SummerSlam is tomorrow. I mean, I think I'm gonna be home watching it. I might have to cover at work, but I'm not sure. But if anything, I'll be here watching it. I'll mention it to Vlad and you guys if you might want a place to watch it. But that's up to you guys. But anyways, I've been Kayhan, coming to you from the gates of hell. This is Kane's old apartment. I picked up the lease after he left.
So rent control.
Yes, no, it's good. It's good rent here. I mean, it's kind of hot, but it's not that bad. But for Kayhan, for Robert, for Brian, and for Vlad, the wrestling expert, that's the end of this episode of the Malapert Smark Wrestling Podcast. Have fun watching this week's wrestling, and we'll talk to you next week.